on today's show, I want to address again James Gunn and the DCU. That's mainly why I'm here for, but you also know I'm a huge Doctor Who fan, and I want to address RTD's comments about being uncertain about Doctor Who's future and talking about, he doesn't know if there's going to be a third series. Before I get into James Gunn and the DCU, Russell, Disney, right? If you want to call it season 3, season 2, or season 1, then make an announcement that you've officially rebooted the show. And the year, and the show's 61, 62, or whatever years history doesn't exist anymore. That's part of another continuity. Like they did with James Bond. Don't be cowards calling it season 1 and season 2 and season 3. We'll get back to the subject of Doctor Who very, very shortly. But let's address James Gunn yet again. Let's address the DCU. You can see that I'm in a very antagonistic kind of mood. I'm kind of fed up of being hyped up. I'm kind of fed up with all the toxicity in the DC universe. I'm fed up of Snyder fans and Gunn fans going at each other. As much as I love Zack Snyder and a high proportion of his fans, because I'm a Zack Snyder DCEU fan as well. But I'm not someone who's just here for Zack, as you all know. I was watching a Snyder fan's YouTube video. He was saying that the Batman was a flop. Right, listen to me very careful. As a man who loves Man of Steel, as a Man of Steel fan, Man of Steel made 650 million at the global box office. The Batman made 750 million. If you're stupidly saying that's a flop because it didn't make $1 billion, the Man of Steel was a flop for making 650 million. Man of Steel was not a flop. And the Batman made $100 million more during the pandemic, more than Man of Steel. Neither film was a flop. We can be upset that we're never going to see, most probably, tragically, Ben Affleck's The Batman movie. I agree with you all. Ben Affleck's The Batman movie would have been my type of cricket, my cup of tea. It sounded awesome. It sounded like one of the best CBMs ever made. Ben is a great director, a great Bruce Wayne, and a great Batman. And what he envisioned for that movie would have been utterly compelling. We can be upset how we're never going to see, that. And how yet again they recycled a Snyderverse movie into something else, still calling it The Batman, but it was Matt Reeves' The Batman, a film I pretty much enjoyed, but I would have preferred the DCEU vision of The Batman, and I could have lived without, as much as I love it, Matt Reeves and Robert Pattinson's The Batman. I get that. So I'm sick and tired of the lies people spout out because they're just, they're coming out with their agenda. And, you James Gunn bots and stands, you're even worse than some of these Snyder fans. Again, I'm a Snyder fan myself, but ultimately, I'm a DC fan. I'm a fan of scripted entertainment, as you all know, and I'm just fed up of this profanity, this nonsense. Aaron Fisher calling Creature Commandos a disgusting show because it happens to have sex in it, or calling Peacemaker a disgusting show. They're not disgusting shows. I think Peacemaker is pretty much James Gunn's best piece of work. James Gunn is a valid writer, director. Do I believe sometimes that the way he conducts himself isn't right? Yes. Do I agree with everything he does? No. Do I think him having a bunch of so-called incels spouting anti-feminist agenda at the beginning of Creature Commandos was a good idea? No. But these are the times we live in. But from what I've seen of Creature Commandos, and I still haven't seen the episodes, they're not available to me because HBO Max isn't available to me. As I say, I'm in one of those moods. But the clips I've seen, as I said yesterday, look freaking amazing. Here's the truth. We're never going to see a continuation of the Snyderverse. I'm happy to #release the Snyderverse, restore the Snyderverse. The only thing I believe we may get from Zack, and if he ever comes back to DC, is a Dark Knight Returns movie, maybe a two-part movie. That's what he wants to do. I don't think he's ever going to come back and finish what he started. I would love him to. It's a non-starter. Even if the DCU and Gunn fails, I don't see the restoration of the Snyderverse. But of course, funnier things have happened. Now, David Ayer and his good wife have been promoting Release the Ayer cut, and they've been doing it in a very positive way. And their fans have been doing it in a very positive way. Now, in terms of Zack Snyder, I don't think he's done enough for Release the Ayer cut. He never has. And that is somewhat disappointing. I love Zack Snyder. I think he's great. I think he's a great filmmaker. You don't have to agree with that, but I believe he's a great filmmaker. But I don't think he's supported David Ayer enough in the release of the Ayer cut. Lots of people say, well, James Gunn hasn't supported blah, blah, blah. He's made David promises. Look, he said to David, at this moment in time, it's a non-starter, but maybe when they got some points on the board, something could happen. So James Gunn has, David Ayer supported James Gunn's Suicide Squad, and James Gunn, in a kind of more quiet way, has said maybe one day, which means maybe never, or maybe at some point. I don't know if we'll ever see that movie. But here's the thing. It was Zack Snyder who recruited David Ayer to write and direct the movie in his universe. So at the very least, he should be out there every time he's got a spare second saying, Release the Ayer cut, supporting. He should be more supportive. I don't think Zack's been supportive enough. Because I don't think it's damaging to the DCU to release the Ayer cut. There will be a lot of noise. I know why they don't want to release it, because it's all going to start again. We should get the Snyderverse back, blah, blah, blah. A man was done dirty. One of the great directors of our time, David Ayer, when you look, whether he's just written a movie or just directed a movie or written and directed a movie, he's a fine writer-director. He's not a problem. If you go and watch all the marketing for his Suicide Squad movie, there seems to be this kind of group dynamic. Everyone was on the same page. They seemed to be in love with each other. And that was David. He set that up. And that was brilliant. They all pulled in the same direction. There was this great energy from the marketing of his Suicide Squad. And what they did to it, like what they did to Zack's Justice League, what they tried to do to BVS by cutting half an hour out, they keep on doing it again, and again. Someone pointed out, they brought in Joss Whedon, a Marvel director, to recycle Zack's work. Now they've brought in James Gunn, a Marvel director, to kind of redo DC. Doesn't mean the DCU won't be successful. It doesn't mean Gunn's Superman movie won't be successful. It's difficult for someone like me, who loved the Snyderverse and probably enjoyed the hype for that more than any of the hype we're getting here. It's a very, very interesting situation we find ourselves in, because James Gunn's been very clever. He's kept the DCU and his projects in the news. He's kept the DCU in the conversation. And I believe this is how he's done it, by leaking information constantly to the press and to the internet. I think he's the leaker. People saying, how are all these leaks happening? It's him. He leaks stuff out, then he denies it. This is what he does, right? That isn't illegal. I wouldn't even say it's immoral. It's business. It's been happening in many industries for many, many years. He leaks the information, then he denies it, because it continues the online conversation and the hype. These leaks of dates for the trailer. I think it's all James Gunn. Then he comes out and denies it. We may not see this trailer to the Super Bowl. Something Charlie Snyder from Emergency Awesome keeps on telling us. And Charlie seems to be right about a lot of things. But we will see. We will see. I want to see this movie because we don't know what this movie is going to be. He teases Silver Age. He teases a more sci-fi Superman, something we haven't really seen in a Superman live-action adaptation before. I'm here for all of that. I want to see something different, not for being different's sake, but something that hasn't been tapped into from the comics before. He's doing Lex Luthor, the mad scientist. I like that he's doing that because it's never been done before So that's very, very cool. So, it's been a huge week for DCU. It's been a huge week for DC Studios. But it's very, very hard to calculate the success of a streaming show. The truth is, you never really know if a streaming show has been successful or not. It's number 3 in Max in Brazil. It's number 2 on Max in America, not number 1. So that tells you a lot. Not that the DCU is going to fail or that Creature Commandos has been a failure, that this is the type of thing that's not going to totally capture a general audience's imagination, or it will be number 1 on Max in America right now. It won't be number 1 on the trends because it's not widely available around the world. And as you know, I'm very, very frustrated about that. Now, moving away from DC, I haven't spoken about Doctor Who for a while. Doctor Who videos are not something that get me lots of views on this channel, but views are not the thing that motivates me. I'm not a monetized platform, so it doesn't really matter who watches and who doesn't watch. If you're watching, if you're liking, if you're commenting, I thank you very much. Doesn't make me any money, but I'm really grateful for your views. I'm really grateful for your likes. I don't get many of them, let's be honest about it. So many people don't like what I say or don't care about what I say. One of the great things about being someone like me, I can say whatever I want on social media platforms because nobody cares what I say. I think this is an enviable position that I'm in because I think it's more important to be free to say what you want rather than being popular and successful. Once people know who you are, they hold you to account for everything you say. And a few people have done that to me before, but mostly I get to say whatever I want. On the internet, it's very uplifting, it's very, it's freedom. It's freedom of speech, and I love it. So let's talk about Doctor Who. Russell T Davies has said there's no clarification. He doesn't know if there's going to be a 3rd series of Doctor Who. Now there is, after series 2, going to be a spin-off, Beyond the Land and Sea, I think it's called. It's about the Sea Devils, I think. Sounds like a very ambitious production. And I'm here for it. It's Doctor Who. Even though I'm not happy with the state of RTD2 and Doctor Who, I will continue watching Doctor Who. Now, we have got a new companion coming in Series 2, and I think her name is, and I follow her on Instagram, and I follow most of the stuff she posts, but I keep on forgetting her name. You know how great I am with names? Verada Setu, I think. Now, Verada, on her Instagram stories, is very much about supporting Palestine. And she's very left-wing, she's very prominent talking politics. Now, I think like right-wing YouTube will come after her, sadly. I think that's sad, I'm not happy about that. But I think this is the kind of environment we live in, so she should be prepared for that. They're going to come after her with her views. Because I believe people on their social media should be able, famous or not, should be able to say what they want. What I don't like is when they use their marketing campaigns like Keira Knightley has for her Netflix show or movie or whatever she's doing to kind of spread her anti-male propaganda. It's been terrible. She's been shitting on Love Actually, which is one of my favourite Christmas movies. It's an amazing film. She's saying the Andrew Lincoln bit with the cards are cringy and she didn't like it, blah, blah, blah. She was only 17 at the time. Love, if you were only flipping 17, why didn't you reject the script? Why didn't you reject the project? You wanted to do it, didn't you? Because you knew everybody wanted to do that movie. If you're so morally ambivalent to that film because you were only 17, and that's really young, and I didn't even realise you were only 17 when you made that movie, but you shouldn't have made the movie. They shouldn't have even asked you to make the movie, but you were famous, they wanted you there, you were respected. I think Keira Knightley's a one-trick pony. I don't think she's a particularly great actor, and I don't even know how she's thrived in this industry. Then again, with current day new Hollywood, it isn't much of a surprise why she's thrived in this industry. So, yeah, I'm a little bit concerned about Verada. I agree with most of the stuff she says on her Instagram story, but I can see her being a target, especially if Doctor Who continues being what it was in Series 1. I've already had the rant about this Series 1 and Series 3 thing. So, It's a great possibility that this second series could be the final series of Doctor Who we get in our lifetime. I'm 52 years old. So the reality is that I may never see Doctor Who unless I'm watching reruns. I will never see a fresh take on Doctor Who. Now, I'm a creative, an unsuccessful creative. I've worked here in Cyprus on television. I've run shows here in Cyprus. I have an amateur dramatic society. I'm writing a movie called Saving Judy Garland, which I want to make a franchise. I want to, each movie will be saving Judy Garland, saving Norma Jean, saving Eric Cantona. I've got great ideas. That's what I'm doing with that. And it's my dream, not only to run Doctor Who as a head writer, but to actually play the Doctor at the same time. It's been my dream to play the Doctor and be involved in Doctor Who for the longest of times. I believe I have a vision for the show that could change everything, that could make you people out there who are angry about the Timeless Children and the Chibnall era and the RTD2 era. I can bring you back. I can make you fall in love with Doctor Who again. I've got a whole idea. I regenerate. I'm holding the sonic screwdriver. I'm one of those people who hates the fact that RTD and the kind of reboot, not the reboot, but the relaunch made kind of the Sonic this magic wand. So the first thing my Doctor says, he breaks the Sonic in half and says, as soon as he regenerates into me, no more wands. So we go without the Sonic, not forever, but for a little while. Now, my Doctor is chasing an alien threat on the planet Earth, and somehow they exude this virus. And this woman, a mother, a single mother, gets this alien virus. So the Doctor makes her daughter, and I'm not sure how the daughter would be. I've spoken about this before, but we'll speak about it again as we're here. An impossible promise. A promise he should never make. That he should be, that he makes her this promise that he is going to find a cure for her in space, in time and space. And if the mother and the daughter come with him, they'll find a cure. He'll help them find a cure. So he makes this impossible promise. I want Kate Winslet to play the single mother, and I either want Lilia Spell or Georgie Henley, who played Lucy in the Chronicle of Narnia films, to play the kid. Now, Georgie's not a kid anymore, so that's what I'm saying. I don't know the age. Maybe she would be in her 20s, and Georgie's in her 20s now. Maybe it'd be a bit difficult. Maybe you'd have to make them sisters and change the story a bit. If you do with Lily, I think Lily may be a teenager now, or maybe approaching her early 20s, so that could work. Or maybe I would just cast other people. So when the Doctor fails to find a cure, the mother dies, and then the daughter blames the Doctor. The daughter in the travels with the Doctor meets the Master. They come across the Master, the Cybermen, the Daleks. She forms some kind of, let's say, she unites with these villains, and she sets up the Doctor, and they trap him in a Genesis arc. So that season finishes in this big cliffhanger that the Doctor is trapped in a Genesis arc. And we know what a Genesis arc is. Most of us do. It's a trap. It's bigger on the inside, and you can't escape, and the Doctor absolutely goes insane. Closed season in the Genesis arc. I would have plans for Doctor Who cinematic movies, having different A-listers playing the Doctor in each movie, regenerating at the end of each film, leaving it as a cliffhanger for the next movie. I have got big plans for Doctor Who. But the reality is, it's just a dream, everyone. I think I would make a great Doctor. Let me know. Would you like to see me play the Doctor? Do you think I should grow my hair if I impossibly got the role? Or would you like to see a Doctor with a shaved head? Would you like to see an Anglo-Greek Cypriot Doctor? They keep on talking about diversity. Let's have the first Anglo-Greek Cypriot Doctor. But let's be absolutely clear if Doctor Who does end. The reason, basically, the audience still wants Doctor Who. It's them that have made Doctor Who valueless. The creative. Russell T Davies, Stephen Moffat, Mark Gatiss, and Chris Chibnall, all talented creators. Whatever you think of them, they're talented. Talented Doctor Who fans came in and gave us a new era of Doctor Who. And it's been, 20 years or so? Yeah, nearly 20 years. It's been an amazing run. Well, mostly it's been an amazing run, but they brought it back to us. And now they've sunk it. You know, nobody got fed up of the Dallas TV show when we had the Dream season. They did it. They made those mistakes. People didn't get fed up of Crossroads when it was cancelled. They did it by not keeping it to what Crossroads was. All the great shows, whether it's the 18, Night Ride, all great things that have been cancelled. We didn't get fed up of Superman in the 80s. They gave us Superman 3 and Superman 4. They did it, right? They didn't sack Dick Donner. They could have made 5, 6 Superman movies, a Batman movie. Do you get what I'm saying? Russell T Davies and especially Chris Chibnall sunk Doctor Who. Chris Chibnall came in. I don't even believe the first female Doctor was the issue. I think the Doctor can be anyone, any demo. I don't have a problem with that. It's the way he underdeveloped her. It's the way he underdeveloped his companions and gave us a slow-paced, boring, well shot, great production values, Doctor Who. And then he did The Timeless Children, which is an idea that creates problems and questions that can't be answered, that Chibnall didn't want to answer. He just wanted to rewrite Doctor Who history. So he sunk Doctor Who. There's a hunger for Doctor Who. There's a hunger for great Doctor Who. There was a hunger for great Dallas. There was a hunger for great Crossroads. There was a hunger for great Superman movies. But when you keep on, people keep on forgiving you, and you keep on doing things that are bad and wrong, and you keep on attacking your customer and your audience, and you blame them for not liking what you're doing. This is why I want to create my own entertainment company, Movies TV Mad. And I want my audiences, when they watch Saving Judy Garland, to say to me, Mick, we didn't like this. And for me to say, you have that right to say that. I'll try and do better next time. That's what people in the industry should be doing. If I do set up my entertainment company, Movies TV Mad, I don't want anyone from that mainstream industry working with me. I want a new crew that have never worked in the industry before, that are trained, that can do their job. I want actors coming out of drama school. I want directors coming out of film school, right? I want runners who have never run before, right? I want fresh people in my production entertainment company, because the people in that industry are over political. They've killed their own industry with their political extremism, and I'm sick and tired of them, and I wouldn't want to work with anyone, any of them, no matter how much I love them and how much I respect them for their talent. I wouldn't want to be anywhere near them. Well, Mick, they wouldn't want to work with a nobody like you anyway. Good. Then the feeling's mutual then, right? At Movies TV Mad, if I set up this entertainment company, I want to make scripted TV. I want to make great movies like Saving Judy Garland, about a man my age, a loser. All he's done all his life is watch Judy Garland in The Wizard of Oz and obsessed over her in the movie. And all of a sudden he's sucked into this tornado and he's taken back to 1938 during the production of The Wizard of Oz. It's a great movie. But then my character changes Judy's fate. And then the world changes. Then he has to make a heartbreaking decision. Save his hero or save the world and put it back the way it was. A heartbreaking decision. That's the kind of storyteller and director. And I want to play this character. I want to write, direct and perform in this little movie. I believe Saving Judy Garland could be a great movie. And of course it's inspired. It's borrowing from Back to the Future and Life on Mars. Everyone is inspired by different projects, and that's okay. So that's what I want to do. I want to make that movie. I want to honour the people who made The Wizard of Oz. I want to honour Judy Garland. People are too busy talking about that something happened between Judy and the Munchkins. Shut up, you can't prove it. You don't know. We don't know that. We know that she was addicted to, prescription pills, uppers. That's what the industry did to her. And that's why my character wants to save her, because she gave him so much throughout his life through The Wizard of Oz, and he's always wanted to save her. Right? And that's the film I want to make. That has nothing to do with Doctor Who. So as you can see, I'm very passionate about stories. The foremost beautiful the words you will hear is once upon a time. Those words saved me so many times, kept me going. Stories are beautiful. What the people in this industry, these extremists, don't understand, we've taken some of the stories that they've made and the stories they've told to our hearts. Star Wars Terminator 2, E.T., Back to the Future, Life on Mars, Dallas, Dynasty, whatever. I took those shows and those movies to my heart. And I took the people who made them and performed them in my heart as well. And today we've got these people on the Hollywood Reporter roundtables and the Variety Power Woman roundtable telling us that they hated doing this and they hated doing that. Shut up! Let me keep my illusions and my dreams. These movies and scripted shows saved me in my life, stopped me from wanting to end my life. They made my life worth living. You don't get that. You don't understand. I'm sorry that you work in a corrupt industry where maybe you were abused. I'm sorry, but I didn't abuse you, did I? Why are you taking it out on me? Why do I have to know this? If something illegal was done to you, then why don't you go to the police even today? Why are you going to journalists, right? So I don't want anything to do with these people in the mainstream industry today. You're not good people and you don't know good people and you live in this echo chamber of LA or the BBC or whatever. So I want to create something new. I want to break the distribution mafia and have my own production company, my own studio, and make the movies for myself and for you out there. So we can enjoy entertainment. That entertainment can be this portal to a better world for a couple of hours or for 40 minutes or for 20 minutes. If you're watching The Simpsons, you're off in the world of The Simpsons for 20 minutes. They're taking the piss out of the world. They're taking the piss out of us. But so what? It's great entertainment. I love Homer. I love Peter. I love Marge. Yeah? I love Chris in Family Guy. I love Stewie, my favourite character in Family Guy, yeah? These are beautiful things. We're fed up of hearing from you because you don't want to talk about the joyful things that you've done for us. You want to talk about politics and we're fed up of it. We're fucking tired. And this is why I want to create my production company, Movies TV Mad. I think it's a great name for an entertainment company. And as I say, I don't want to work with people from the mainstream industry. Unless I know you're totally clean and good people who care about entertainment, and at the moment you're not proving you give a shit about some of the wonderful things that you've made and that have meant something to me, right? I'm fed up of hearing about how poor, spoilt, wealthy Western women have been treated. Do you care about the women in the Middle East? Do you care about the women in third world countries who are really suffering? No, fucking women in jacuzzis moaning about how they don't have fucking equality. Are you fucking kidding me? Why don't you start talking about the inequalities in the rest of the fucking world, right? Whaman, 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 shut up! Shut up! I don't want to hear it anymore. Even women, working class women, don't want to hear it because you don't stand for them. You don't stand for the trans community. You don't stand for the LGBTQ community. You don't stand for those people. You're gaslighting those people. You're making those people's targets. You have poisoned the beautiful entertainment industry that was given to us by people like Buster Keaton, Harold Lloyd. You have fucking destroyed something beautiful and people like me want to rebuild it again. I don't really have any connections. It's virtually impossible for me to launch my production entertainment company, Movies TV Mad. But I'm passionate. And at 52, I'm not going to give up. I want an entertainment company that respects women, that makes women feel safe. And if that means when I'm in the vicinity of an actress or a woman on my set and I have to have my hands behind my back and not stand next to her to make her feel comfortable, that's fine. If I only look at her for 2 seconds when she's talking to me and I put my head down so she feels comfortable, that's fine. We will create a safe space for child actors. We will allow the parents to be part of that workspace so they feel comfortable that their children are safe. I shouldn't have to say this. This should be a default thing. Women, children, everyone in a working environment should feel safe. They don't in that shitty, crazy place called Hollywood. And they're still not safe. This is why all the women in Hollywood hate men, because there's this disease we live in now. Sex has become a disease, this obsession with sex, because we live in a sexualized society, having sex, sex, sex. You go on Instagram, they're jumping up and down and putting their knockers in your face, literally, right? And us men are weak, right? So, sex has become a disease and people have become obsessed with sex and sexualizing each other and sexualizing themselves. So I want to create a safe space where that isn't a thing, where we're telling beautiful, joyful stories. Do you really need to see people kissing? Do you really need to see people shagging in a movie or a scripted TV show? Can't you just go to Pornhub to see that shit? If people really love, can't they just hold hands on a screen? Do you have to see them shagging? No, you don't. Even as a kid, I hated all that. When we had this really brilliant emotional moment and then they kissed for 2 minutes and I'm thinking, boring, it's the lovey-dovey bit. You can do love. People can fall in love without actually having to shag on the screen. So I want to do away with that. I want to do away with that culture. I want people to want to come to work. I want people to say, that Mick, he's created a beautiful environment. Because I love entertainment and I love telling stories and I love consuming stories, and there needs to be a safe space for people, for talent to work in. I should be safe, you should be safe. Whether you're a butcher, you're a retail worker, the bare minimum every human being deserves is safety in the workplace. And people in modelling or the music industry or the entertainment industry don't have that luxury. And as I say, it's a default, it should be a thing. But sex and drugs and other things are a sickness in these huge billion-dollar industries. So what has to happen is we have to shrink down. So a place like Movies TV Mad would be a joyful place. It wouldn't be a big business. It wouldn't be a conveyor belt. If I make Saving Judy Garland by some miracle and it's successful, I'm not going to go on to the next film because I have to make a next film. We're going to sit down and we're going to think about our next project. If we ever make Saving Judy Garland, we're going to take our time. We're not going to rush it. It could take 2 years, it could take 5 years. I couldn't give a shit. There's no rush because it's about moulding the clay and everyone feeling safe and in a great creative environment. And this is how I feel about entertainment. So the reason that Doctor Who may be cancelled is because you made it worthless. You diluted Doctor Who. You brought it back, Russell, so wonderfully, then you diluted it because the entertainment industry became ambassadorial. It became overtly political. The other day, I saw Eva Longoria standing behind the podium, right? Why are adult pretenders standing behind podiums talking about politics and representation and inclusion? I mean, if I didn't know who she fucking was, I would have thought she was a member of the United fucking Nations. What happened? What happened to this beautiful industry? I am sick of it. I'm sick that the people I looked up to allowed this to happen. So, I want to create an entertainment company called Movies TV Mad. And my first project is absolutely going to be Saving Judy Garland. Judy was a beautiful kid. She made a beautiful movie. She was probably one of the most talented people who ever lived. And because of that sick, sadistic place, her life didn't end up very well. I want to stay away from that as much as possible. I want to be positive about Judy and the Wizard of Oz in this story, but we will be talking about how badly her showbiz mum treated her and how beautifully Margaret Hamilton, who played the Wicked Witch, treated her. They had a great relationship. She had a great relationship with the guys who played Jack Haley, who played the Tin Man, the guy who played the Scarecrow, and who was the other guy? The Lion, yeah, and the guy who played the Lion. I think those guys absolutely adored Julie, and there was no issues there. So we're going to see all of that in this movie. I love The Wizard of Oz, I love Judy Garland, but most prominently, I love stories, I love entertainment, I love consuming them, and I want to make them for me and for you. And I want the people working at Movies TV Mad, if it ever happens, to feel safe. And the problem is with creativity, everyone has an ego and everyone wants to be louder than the other person. Everyone wants to be listened to. And it's a very challenging space, but I think you can still have a positive environment within it.